Oh, come on, let's get down. Come on, everybody. Check me out. I'm dancing. I'm dancing. Oh, come on, let's get down. Come on, everybody. Check me out. I'm dancing. I'm dancing.
All right, guys. So, be just a couple minutes here until we start up the show. If you haven't been to a Pantheon PlusYou before, and we're getting a bunch of people doing follows, I just want to say thank you guys. If you keep hearing that, that's what it is. And I'll give you guys some shout outs here in just a minute to everyone who's following before the official show starts. But it's important that we show this on the screen here because what makes Pantheon PlusYou special is it's sort of like a sports talk radio show. We actually invite you, no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter what opinion you have, we invite you to come on the show and discuss different topics that we will talk about for our Pantheon, what we see, what we hope for, whatever our topic on hand is. You guys can see if you go join our Discord, you can do that at www.pantheon.plus, and I'll try to have Theric, actually putting you to work, Theric. I'm going to have him link that in the stream chat if he can, the link into our Discord. And then you can jump into a channel that's called Green Room. You're going to see me in a channel called Live. Right under me is a voice chat for Green Room. Everybody who jumps into that Green Room, I will pull you on the air to talk about the topic at hand. And tonight's topic, obviously, is the dev stream. We're going to get started here in just 1 minute. I am throwing a bunch of stuff here into the feed so that I can show off some of the stuff we saw tonight. Trying to work furiously. So grab your beers, take your bathroom break, and get ready, because we're going to go as long as we need to get that Green Room on the air live.
Oh, we're live? We're streaming right now? Cool. Awesome, man. Let me just
A Pantheon Plus production.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Pantheon PlusYou, the late edition after the dev stream. So first, thanks for everybody jumping over here real quick and getting ready to do this show. It's a little crazier on nights that we have the dev stream, but it's also free content. So how can I complain? I will take a back seat to the VR team anytime, and I thank those guys for even letting me type in the chat. And I promise you I'm not super annoying. I messaged them ahead of time and said, hey, do you guys mind if I pitch Pantheon PlusYou after? And I got the thumbs up. So hopefully I wasn't too annoying. This is our after stream party. I did actually get some of the images, so we'll actually fire those images up. And what we're going to do is we'll go through the notes, but what I'm going to do while we're going through the new notes is bring Green Room participants in, and we'll go through a series of the notes, and then you can kind of highlight something you want to highlight and set your bar. So when we do a dev show recap, we typically stick with the meter saying, was it above expectations, at expectations, or below expectations? I think that's fair. And listen, mad props to Vandrad, who we've been given a lot of props to as of late. I'm a little afraid of his ego getting bigger, but what are you going to do, right? So we are going to be having the patch notes that we talk about actually came from Vandrad shouting it out on this show. And right in the chat, Chris was like, you know what? That's a good idea. Now, in fairness, Vandrad has been shouting about that a lot. And there's other people in the community who has also been shouting it. But we got to take a little credit every once in a while. A little bit. So Vandrad, thank you, because you made it happen on the show here. And that's what we're going to stick with. So I'm not going to go into like a screen where I set my expectations. I'm just going to go ahead and set it right up, and we're just going to get right into the green room right away. I'm going to show some images and we'll start going over these notes. So let's talk about the stream in general. I'm going to go ahead and set my meter before I get into a whole lot, because we'll do the meter, like I said, together tonight. So I'm going to set my meter. That was above expectations. I really like the stream, and we'll go into some details.
Come on, everybody. Check me out. I'm dancing.
So Skywolf, thank you for the follow here. We are on Twitch. This is a new world for us. So we are trying to build up our follower account on Twitch. And honestly, it's because we want to learn how to stream. We want to learn how to get Fragile. Thank you for following. So we want to get the reach out. Twitch is going to give us more reach on live streaming than we're going to be able to get with YouTube live streaming. The simple fact is as much as I love YouTube, and we're going to use it for content creation, we're going to use it for most of our on-demand stuff. Twitch just allows us to reach more people in a quicker pace over more media, and it's a little easier, right? So let's go ahead and get started. I moved that up. We're good to go. I'm going to bring Fragile in to start the show with me and start talking about some of the notes. We'll start at the top and have him give us some feedback on them. And then we're going to go through that green room. So once again, if you have not joined the show live, it is not scary. You're allowed to have an opinion. I promise. Jump in the green room. I will pull you in and we'll get going. So Fragile, you're going to be coming in right now. So Fragile, welcome to Pantheon PlusYou episode 21, the dev stream recap.
Hello, hello.
Hey, you have to turn the radio down. You can't hear yourself while you're on. I'm just kidding. What's going on, man? What'd you think of the stream?
Dude, AA points. That's all I want.
Oh, yeah, buddy. So let's start there. Do you want to just talk about ability points, and we'll start there on the notes, and then you can kind of give your feedback on it and set the meter.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so Nemzer, thank you for following. Nemzer Gnome. And there were some people, we'll give more shout outs after here with some of the people who followed us a little earlier. So yeah, there were two things when they talked about ability points that they said, Fragile. And it's two things I think that even the most hardcore, MMO fans that hate modern MMOs can be happy about, because they did include WoW. They said that they liked WoW's talent tree system. Now, for those of you that don't know, that is the original system that WoW launched with. It is not what they have now. And as they said, it's sort of a system where you're going to get something every, sorry, I got distracted by Lexer there, where you're going to get a point every level, and then you're going to be able to grow. Anxiety, thanks for the follow. So Fragile, what do you think first about that before we get into AA? Because everyone here is going to love AA, I feel. When you heard they were basing it on WoW, are you happy with the piece that they picked?
Well, luckily we got to see the actual little element that he had been working on that showed like the plus X or minus X cast time or whatever. So then you're like, okay, I could see where they're coming from, where with the talent part of it. So at first I was like, oh, I hope there's not another UI element that we got to like do a skill tree and all that. I was scared, but then, they followed it up with AAs and I wet myself.
Yeah, so as you guys can see on the screen, that's the image. In case you missed it in any part of the dev stream, you'll see there that the one on the screen is healing hands. So there's a positive, negative, right? For a modifier, you're gonna reduce the reduction to cooldown, but you're gonna increase the health. So that's actually a double positive there. But you may see balances like that. So really cool the way they did that. I mean,
and one thing that should be added too is, while you're leveling, you're not just getting these points, but you're also getting your skills. So it's like you're getting skills, you're getting points. So there's going to be a lot of incentive while you're leveling to keep it fun. And I'll give you some custom ability.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing too. I think that what AAs did, and it's so funny that nobody's really jumped on AAs since EverQuest in a way that's actually meaningful, but it gave you a way to continue progressing. In a game where leveling matters and character growth matters in every MMO out there right now, for the most part, once you get to max level, there's no more growing other than gear. So having these ability points and earning them, and did you catch that he said you may get some from quests, you may get some from various drops, they may be items. What'd you think of that?
That was awesome, because in our last podcast we did on Loading Please Wait, we actually specifically talked about how they should add that in for loot drops or raid drops or other ways. And then when Joppa came in and said, oh, there's going to be epic abilities, and those epic abilities are going to be upgraded from different means, which is great because that adds even more progression for higher end content and doing things to make your skills stronger, which were already stronger.
Yeah, and that is interesting because if we're going to have different abilities that are going to be epic, they're going to be this extra step. I think treating them the same in any way, shape, or form as a standard ability is probably not the way to go. So having it be different, I think, is a nice touch. We're going to spend a lot of our time with ability points. So when we get that epic ability, being able to now experience a different level of gameplay or a different strategy, even if it's minute, is still something different to make it seem more impactful or different, something new to achieve, which I like. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that the whole AA system is one of those things that everyone always wanted to see, and again replayed out. And because EverQuest was so amazing when that was put in Luckland and stuff, and it's really exciting. Like if this newsletter, if all they said was, "Oh, we're gonna have ability points," it would have been a hit.
I'm curious to see how many people agree with you on that, because that's, like you said, we haven't had something like AA points in a great MMO for a very long time. So pretty cool. So Fragile, where would you set that meter then?
I'm above expectations, but I'm probably even higher than above expectations because I'm like on cloud 9 right now, that I can just like start thinking of all the potential, leveling paths to take, skills to upgrade first. It's a lot of theory crafting, and that shit's exciting. That's
awesome. Guys, Fragile we can't see him, but I think he's smiling ear to ear right now.
And no pants.
Of course not. I mean, what streamer wears pants? Why do you think we never get up, right? So Fragile, awesome to have you on, man. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks for the follow on Twitch here and coming over. It's been a fun transition over. I appreciate it, man.
Yep. Thank you.
Take it easy. So Fragile starting off the show. We're moving up that meter even higher than me. I don't know why I said it right there. I probably could have gone higher, but it was fun to have Fragile be more excited than me, to have more of a glow and a positive outlook. I mean, this is a new day. So this is pretty great. So we're going to get back into that green room here in a second. Let's go ahead. And again, if you want to get in the green room, get in. We'll stay as long as we need to tonight to get you in. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the categories that were talked about on the stream tonight. If you didn't get to see any of the stream, and oddly, you just made it in time for us, the group that was there tonight, this little picture of your devs, we had Ronik, Joppa. Ben has changed his name. Now, I'm Nathan. If you're there, you're muted. Unmute your mic. I'm bringing you up because we have to talk about this. We may have a new conspiracy theory for you. So Nathan, unmute your mic and I'm going to bring you up. So once I see that, I will. So we have Ronik, we have Joppa, and Nathan's coming in now. Nathan, you there, buddy? How are you? Hey. So did you notice what's on the screen right here?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up, man?
Yeah. I mean, do you notice what's going on the screen? We have Ronik, we have Joppa. What's that name?
Yeah, I noticed that. So here's the deal. I think he got tired of me calling him Ben No Beans Dean. I think
so.
He was like, you know what? I've had enough.
So Nathan, your new mission is number 1 to figure out how to properly say that name, because I am not the guy for that. Anybody who watches any stream I do, I can't say a name to save my life or read it.
I think it's Mikkel.
Okay, so you have to think of a way to tie some sort of bean to that name, because he has evaded you at this point. And he's literally, you caused him to change his name, Nathan.
I think that changing his name, that's not allowed in the game, they said. You can't just change your reputation by changing your name. So I'm pretty upset that he tried to pull this off. I don't think that was fair.
So real quick here, Hypercrush just said, this has been his aliasing game from the beginning. Stop with the facts and details. That's not allowed around here.
That's not what conspiracy theories are all about.
Yeah, conspiracy theories have nothing to do with facts. And in fact, Hypercrush, I'm a little upset with you, but it's okay, because on this show, you're still allowed to have opinions, even when they're wrong.
Well, see, I wouldn't have thought it was as weird, right? Except for it says Ronik, which that's normal, right? Joppa, that's fine. But his usually says Ben Dean. But then I would be okay with it because they all say it, except for then it says Jason.
Yeah, so one of two things needs to happen. You may have to come up with a nickname for Jason.
I was already thinking. I was like, that would make a fine puppet. That beard would. I would love to make a puppet of that beard.
So you have to do on your YouTube page. I think you need to start a poll and pick a bunch of different names that Jason's gonna have to go by, and you're gonna have to try to figure that out, Nathan.
If this is my time to be on, by the way, then just like the chat just said, I wanted to come on just to talk about those beans that almost got spilled.
Okay.
So he was reading the patch notes. They had popped one in there. I agree with everybody in chat when he was like, "Whoa, what's that doing in there?" That was a bard thing, don't you think? It was something. It was a patch on the bard. You agree?
You think it was bard? That's what you think?
Well, I mean, I went back and watched your what was that, episode 17, I think, when I was on your show and Joppa slipped in real quick and talked about the bard. So yeah, I think they got him in the in-house version running of Pantheon, and I think they were patching something in there. Maybe their special UI or something like that.
Okay. So are you sure? Because my inside sources were that elves are being removed. I put that in the chat before it started. I heard internally they were removing elves, and I thought that patch note might have been elven models replaced with Rattata.
That would be interesting, and I would be okay with that. That was a good race. The Ratanga. Rattata's from Pokemon. You just said a Pokemon. Rattata's a Pokemon, yeah.
I knew I wouldn't get that by you.
I was like, wait a minute, Rattata, that is something.
That is something. Yeah, it is definitely a Pokemon. So, see, and Bronson's on the same page. Man, he's my halfling rogue brother. It's just great. So, Nathan, what'd you think overall about the stream tonight? What parts of it stood out for you? What'd you think of the presentation? Overall, I mean, what are you thinking tonight?
I really liked it, man. I think this was their best live newsletter. I really enjoyed it a lot. One thing I did want to say to everybody real quick, if you don't mind, before I give my rating here, is that I got banned from Twitch after I spent 1K on it. No, I did get banned from Twitch. I don't know what happened, so I had to make a new Twitch handle.
It's probably the puppets. Did they think your content was too kid friendly and they banned you?
Maybe my YouTube's about to get banned next.
No, but be careful.
I was super impressed. I really liked everything about this stream. It felt like it went by way too fast. It was way above my expectations. I would leave it right where it's at, as high as it goes, about to burst the meter.
Awesome. So, let's. I'm going to talk through some stuff. You want to stay on here for a second with me before we pull someone else up, and I'll read through. And if you have any things to add to it, go ahead and through it. So I'm going to go through some patch notes. You guys can blow it up in chat if you have something you really want to get into, or Nathan, if you want to jump on something, then I'll let you go. I'm not going to hold you hostage. But so let's go ahead and real quick down the rabbit hole here of what they talked about. We talked about the Merc. We saw some images. Let me throw up a couple Merc images. So we had this one here. It's pretty cool. You can see that you're obviously going to climb up onto that platform up there, and you're going to have sort of these vine platforms, which is pretty cool. So I like that. And then we just got sort of like a hallway. So we're going to get very dark caverns, which I think is good. And Fragile, you just made me smile ear to ear right there. He said that it's starting to feel like Guck. What do you think of that, Nathan?
That is true. That actually is a really good thought, I think.
Yeah, that picture right there really reminds me of Guck.
Yeah, which is awesome. Do that. Please try to recreate that.
Yeah, Guck was probably one of my favorites. So we talked about the Merc. And Joppa brought up a really good point towards the end here. And this is something we've talked about in stream a ton of times. There's no right or wrong answer to this. We're allowed to have our opinions on it. But so at what point do we want to not be shown something? We all want to see more. We all want dates. We all want to play the game. But at what point is the question tonight was, what climates are in the Merc by Theric? And Joppa immediately said, I don't want to talk about it. And he said it because he wants you to go into the Merc, fight your way through and get somewhere and just be like, yeah, I'm going to have to leave and go get this stuff now. So he wants you to experience what happens when you walk into that area and maybe it's toxic and all of a sudden everyone's in panic. It's really tough. And that's, I've said constantly, it's not, I would never envy having to determine what is okay to spill and what is not.
Yeah, that's that, and you know when they're just talking freely, right? Like live with the community, it's gotta take a lot of restraint to, because it's not like they can have a conversation beforehand and be like, "Don't say this, don't say that." They gotta just kind of trust each other's judgment that they're gonna know, exactly right there what Vanifac said, where to draw the line, right? So it's difficult, man, and they walk that line very well, I gotta say, so far.
Yeah. Yeah. And I said I'd give some shout outs to some of the people that started following us right as we were kind of coming on the air. So it unfortunately you didn't get shown on the screen, but I do have a little log here. So Kong 362, thank you. Zarkenfrude, thank you. I'm going to mispronounce names. Nathan, thank you, buddy. Lulladen, I like that name. Vanifek, Skywolf. Then we had Fragile and we had everybody else announced. So thank you guys for following tonight. This is essentially our first full week on Twitch. And just like that, Kerdrick, I thank you for that as well. I just want to give a quick heads up here that you guys have enabled us to get affiliate in 1 week. So
Nice.
on Monday, we qualify for affiliate no matter what happens because we just need to stream one more night. You guys are freaking awesome. I'm humble as hell for that.
Congratulations.
So thank you guys. And some people have asked why we've come to Twitch. It's because I really do believe we're going to be able to reach more people. And I'm constantly annoying Ben Dean for the ability to stream this game. So I'm like, look, we can do it on YouTube. We can do it on Twitch. Where do you want it, Ben? You tell me, we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
So, and awesome. Thank you, Gula Gula. I appreciate that, my man. And thank you to Zerthis for the follow there as well. So Nathan, let's go over a couple more here, then I'll let you free.
Okay.
So we saw the video with Jared looking into the codex. And by the way, anything we talk about here, if you're in the green room and this is a topic you want to talk about, come on in. So the sorting functionality, we saw that the tabs are a custom sorting functionality. And I really like that.
Mhm.
Are you getting a vibe that we're going to have a ton of abilities?
Yeah, it feels like it, doesn't it? Well, you got to think about it like this. So, in this game, from what we know so far, and this could obviously change, but when they're saying you got to pick 12 and bring with you kind of thing, right? It's part of the strategy. So, there's nothing wrong with having a crap load of abilities if you have to kind of pick and choose, right?
Yeah.
And I think that'll get OP'd a little bit. I think they'll end up with more than 12. But you know what I mean? Like, if they allow 24 to come with you, whatever. Having options and having to decide which ones for this, like, you have to kind of plan for it. Like, what are we doing tonight? Where are we going? Let's set up our hot bars and be prepared for it. And they really need a really good codex to make that streamless and not a pain in the butt to where you're like, I don't want to change my hotbar again. So I think it's all very important, very relevant.
Yeah, and on the screen right now, I actually have the picture for the codex here. I'm going to actually fill this up so you guys can see it. This is the sort of the dev kit for it. So it's on the main screen now. So we've talked about the ability dots a little bit, which is going to be similar to AA's. You can see them up on the top tab there. Everything's kind of functional. Everything they built is built with a purpose. And I think that that's something that's really cool about Jared. And we've talked about this before when he was on, that Jared looks at things that you and me wouldn't. But
Right.
we appreciate it without knowing. When he talks about how things just match, how things are thought of in such detail, like a plate, and how it's, brushed aluminum, or how when you highlight, it's a slightly, lighter color. Just these very intricate little details that are going to make this book amazing, in my opinion. So I liked seeing some of that. He definitely gave us a little bit more than what we saw before, than just the fact that there's that expansion ability, right? So really, really cool. Blind just said, first time watching this recap stream series. It's really good. Only recommendation would be to turn off the notification sounds during discussion. It threw me off at first. Yeah, I apologize for that. Maybe we'll look at toning that down a little bit. I think maybe that would help. We could probably do that.
You should consider the royalty-free skeleton lab.
The skeleton lab. You know what? That could happen. That could
It's pretty
definitely
good.
happen. You might have upgraded our stream presence with that. So without a doubt. Yeah, thanks for the feedback there, Blind. We'll definitely look into that. So, or a notification without speech. Yeah, for sure. we can we'll get that fixed up. We're learning a lot. You guys can see just on the stream tonight, we've added some elements in, like a follower goal, and we have a highlight there for people who follow or do anything on the stream, so that you guys can get more recognition, because this whole channel is about community. So awesome. So that's everything I got, Nathan. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Come on, everybody.
No,
And then
I meant
blind queued it up. That's
I
awesome.
want to talk about those beans mainly.
Yeah. All right. So I appreciate, Nathan. You're
right.
keeping the meter maxed out, right?
Yep, maxed all the way, as far up as it will possibly go. And congratulations, you're doing a great job on Twitch, man. I wish you the best. And when you got a game you want to stream together, let me know. I'll be happy to stream with you.
Oh, we'll be streaming like crazy, my dude. We'll be streaming like crazy. Don't worry about that.
I heard
there's a new My Little Pony game coming out, and it has me and you written all over it.
Yeah, it's 2-player co-op too.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Take it easy, man. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, guys. So let's go over a couple more details. Let's bring in Bronson. So Bronson, if you want to unmute your headset and your mic, I'm going to pull you up and we'll go over some of the notes, and then you can kind of talk about parts that you liked. What's up, Bronson? How are you?
Hey, man.
Hey, I don't know if you were there at the beginning of the stream, but I was calling for you. There were elves everywhere. Did you?
I know, right?
Like, I was like, where's Bronson? I was pinging you, but you weren't really there, so it wasn't really doing anything. And then all of a sudden, like, not only were there a lot of elves, then Theric showed up, and then the leader of the elves, Micah, showed up, and it was like,
Yeah, I was just dying for them to say they're gonna remove elves.
yeah, I think that was the line.
Yeah,
It's okay.
I'm pretty sure that was it.
They're gonna replace them with like a furry race, so it's gonna be okay. They should be fine.
Some sort of an Ewok, right?
Yeah, but they can't be hooded because it'll look too much like the gnome. So we'll figure it out. Big fluffy ears. Maybe you can pick your tail type. I think that would be good.
That's perfect for like a replacement to the elf.
Exactly. So Bronson, I'm going to keep reading through some of the stuff here. Stop me with something you want to talk about, and we'll also give you the chance to kind of talk about what you thought overall about this. So one of the things that was said here about the Codex is that it's being built to really build towards more grand ideas, and that the newest book allows for some heavy feature implementation. So what I took away from that, and tell me if I'm wrong because you've been in development, is that they have so many ideas laid out that they're building to, and that should really make us all feel pretty good, right? I mean, do you agree that that's how you would read into that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, what specifically? I mean, like, because I mean, there's a lot of stuff that he went over, and I really enjoyed the tabs. I mean, the idea that you could sort everything out based on seemingly on those tabs, very, very cool. A lot of really nice things. I'm still not sure. I mean, looking at that book, I still don't know how many abilities, but you alluded to earlier about the fact there might be a lot of abilities. You and Nathan, I think we're talking about.
Yeah. It looks, I mean, when you're talking about all these sorting mechanics, don't you instantly start to think that if you're going to build a ton of time into sorting, there's got to be a lot of abilities. It needs to be worth sorting.
Yeah, I mean, you would think so, but then you look at the website and you see the abilities that they have. Now, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, because each class has their own abilities, and they're limited to a degree, but how are they going to expand upon that? Yeah, it could be various stages of the ability. Yeah. Who knows?
It's interesting. And, and Hoye was in chat, and I saw Hoye was talking about he's not a big fan of the limited skill set. So he's a little afraid, okay, well, if there's going to be all these abilities, now I'm going to have bloat unless I have a limited skill set. And I'll actually jump into that. So for anybody that didn't see the first official announcement for the stream, is they were going to talk about the action bar. And if you guys don't remember, 2 weeks ago, Joppa brought up that they were working on the action bar. And then they said that this stream was going to cover the action bar, but they backed off of it. And that still is my biggest question, because I think if you're going to be building new art for the action bar, very similar to how they're building the new Codex art, that you're going to have a decision made, I would believe, right? We're going to have to know if we're 12 abilities locked with a secondary bar. We're going to have to know something if they're doing all this art for the UI, but they backed off of that today. So I'm hoping 2 streams from now that's like the meat and potatoes that we see in the next dev stream. Did you catch any of that before, Bronson, or did you not see that they were originally going to talk about that?
I did see that. I just didn't really think much of it because there were so many other things they brought up that were just equally exciting to hear.
Yeah, so it's interesting. And if Joppa is in chat there and he wants to spill any beans, we would love to hear anything about your current assessment of the action bars. Or if Ronick just wants to run wild and just start giving us info, I'm cool with anybody from VR. That's a topic that I've been direly invested in. So I'm curious, in chat, let them know if you're curious. Where do you stand on it? So let's go ahead and keep talking. So Ben gave a shout out about, and it's you know, he's always gonna be happy about stuff, but he had a genuine excitement in his voice. He gave a shout out about how great the codex is working in game. Like just how clean it is, no delay. And they kind of talked about designing the game with the interface really being very light, super fast, and really taking the time to build these mechanics so they aren't a slog on the game later. Have you ever been part of a project where like it was built from the bottom up so bad that it became a nightmare to kind of work on in the future? Or like your team?
Yeah. Well, not because of the UI or anything, but I've been part of projects, and I won't go into the details.
Of course not.
But yeah, as I have.
But it limits the growth quite a bit, I'd imagine. So.
Sure, it does. I mean, you don't. There's always that chance that you go way too many, have too many design choices and too many systems and all that stuff, and then you have to backtrack and subtract.
Yeah. What's up, Kiros? Welcome in. Booch, welcome in. We got some more people jumping in. Love having you guys here. Please feel free to jump in the green room. So Bronson, overall, what were your thoughts?
I loved it. I loved just about everything I saw. I was hoping to see a little bit, maybe. I just always want to see more artwork as an artist, but the gray box was cool. I'm curious what the size, scale of those tunnels were. Yeah. In comparison to a player, that would be nice to know. But tab system's great. The behavior ideas that they were tossing around
for the NPCs, yep.
Yeah, that was very cool. What else? What else did they talk about? There was so much that I forgot. I was trying to take notes.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I did not like anything of what I heard. I mean, props to Vandred to, bringing that up for them to talk about, and very good idea for the patch note.
Yeah.
And anybody else who came up with it too. So, but I think gotta give it to Vandred.
Yeah, Vandred actually has gotten a lot of shout outs today. He's probably on Cloud9, just soaking it all in right now. Right. So Bronson, are you moving that bar down, or are you keeping it maxed out where everybody else had it?
Let's just keep it right there.
All right, Bronson. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it as always. Except for when you don't have my back against elves.
Well, I always got that, man.
Be on time.
Always.
Take it easy, man. Have a good one.
All right, night, man.
So let's go ahead and jump into some of the patch notes, because that's what he just talked about there. We're talking about patch notes that was brought up by Vandred. Vandred got the shout out from Joppa. Feels good. So here's some of the things they said. The patch notes were massive client-side improvements. They fixed a lot of frame spiking issues. That's good to know. They're building that now. Scrolling combat text improved. It was said, and then they jumped back to the client-side improvement. So I'm curious about more details for the scrolling combat text, because I know there's a lot of people in the community who actually don't enjoy the numbers floating around. So I'm curious to see what the implementation and how that looks, which is pretty cool. Auto attack NPCs were falling into a sync. I never noticed that. I don't know if you guys did or not, but now I want to go back and watch the streams of all the NPCs just at the same time. So I'm really happy they fixed that, because if I would have ever noticed that, it's funny. It makes me want to go back. We saw the group health bug that was persistent in one of the streams. They fixed that. Spell aura bug, fixed that. The codex was completely replaced. Class abilities all tweaked. So, more lore coming. Ronick just said as well. So class abilities tweaked. They hinted on the inspector tool. So there's a tool where they can look into the NPCs, see their stats, see how they're reacting. It's called the inspector tool, and it's an NPC recognition tool to check all their stats. Pretty neat. The wizard UI was updated. Ronick's in chat. I'm sure he had something to do with that. I'm thinking that when you get like max of your like one of the stat lines, it just says bring the thunder comes up on the screen, like maybe a big like bring the thunder. see what else we had. Fixes to auras and the auto attack system. And for those that don't know, he mentioned that white damage is going to be very important. For those of you that haven't played a game where white damage is important, that is essentially auto attack. So your auto attack and the weapons you have are going to be very important, right? Damage ratio. So if you're someone who watches a stream and you're looking at the combat box and you're seeing numbers and they're very consistent, you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. That was a bug. So if a weapon hits from height here, low here, and there's a crit, it seems like for some reason it wasn't randomizing through those numbers. So just, basic combat stuff, but need to hear about. Merc and Fairthale still being developed. And they're talking about, they said all of King's Reach, they want up and running for alpha. And there was some surprise to that. I saw in the chat that people were sort of like, wow, this game's going to be, the alpha and beta are going to be really close to ready. They made that decision prior to Fairthale, that they said that what they originally envisioned alpha playtime and testing to be, they want to move it more towards you're playing what you're going to expect when the game comes out. So pretty interesting. I think it's the continent of King's Reach, Vanifek. So that actually includes Fairthale. They want the whole continent, including Fairthale in that. So it's basically half the world almost that they want. So yeah. So very cool there. So let's go ahead and grab Hoye. If you want to ready up, I'm going to grab you here in a second. I'll bring you up in here and we can start chatting. What's up, my tank brother? How are you?
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Doing good, man. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. How you been?
Busy, but good. I made time for tonight.
You are my hero. Thank you for coming over, man. I appreciate that. So we've talked about a lot of the stuff on here. I didn't cover everything, but what'd you think of the stream before we even move forward?
I think it was really good. I really liked it. I like that they're recognizing that they have such a connection with the community and they're addressing it. Like one thing that stood out to me was Joppa said, hey, look, we know you're concerned about how much we're putting out every week or every 2 weeks and stuff like that. So I appreciate that he recognizes that, we're here. Sometimes people in the big companies like that, they just kind of know it's there, but they don't, kind of talk back and forth with it. So I think it's really cool. He's like, hey, look, we heard you. This is what we're doing about it. And I thought that was pretty cool just from a, I guess, PR perspective.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think of like an amazing moment. Like I know you weren't a big EverQuest guy, but in EverQuest, I mean, think about like walking into the city of Mist, right? Like how cool that was.
Okay.
With like the ghost, There were ghost Ixars and it was just this like really cool undead city. And there's all these reavers running around. You can go down. Like
that sounds like the Merc to me.
Well, yeah, sort of. But imagine that before you went into City of Mist or before you went into the Estate of Unrest or before you went into Guck, or before you went into BRD and WoW, just imagine that you knew everything about it before you experienced it. That's not...
That would take it away so much.
Yeah, and I get that a lot of people say, well, you're going to have content creators, you're going to have guide makers showing these videos off, but there's a difference. There's a difference in the content comes out and then they start making the videos where you can run in and see it before you even watch a video because it's accessible, right? Versus hearing about it now and waiting another year or two to be able to do it, that it's just going to kill that moment. So I think that it's important that I say this all the time and I think people get upset with me about it, but protect us from ourselves. I'm just like
absolutely.
You guys. I want more. I want to play. I want to stream. I want to make content, but protect us from ourselves because that's important. And it's tough for them. But
yeah, I absolutely agree. And it's also tough when we're saying, well, we haven't seen it. What's going on? This and that. We haven't seen it, so it must not, exist. Blah blah blah. It's like, no, just relax, man. Like they've got it and they want to talk about it. Trust me, but they've got to, keep their mouth shut as well too. So. But I agree. I don't want to see a whole lot. I would be happy if like some of the places that they've already shown, if they just kept going back to, just kind of cycled back through those few places, and obviously we can probably see a graphics pass if they do another one, and see some changes in it. But like, that would be fine to me. I mean, all we need to see is the combat mechanics, and they may pick another place to show how the
animations,
acclimation change. Acclimation is working and stuff like that, but I mean, we don't have to go see the whole world to see how the game is improving and how it's working.
Yeah, and there wasn't anybody who wasn't blown away by seeing Amber Fade again. And I know we've seen it quite a bit at this point.
Yeah.
We're looking at it right now in the background here, but I think that, one of the things that people, I think, have a fear of is that, for some reason they're working on Fairthal, they're not done with Fairthal, and nothing else is being done. That's just not the case. It's just not.
Yeah,
everything they're doing is systematic. When they improve lighting in general, it's improving across the game. Animations are improving across the game. These tool sets are building at a rapid pace, probably less rapid than some people would like, but it's building at a rapid pace where there's a lot being done that we're not going to see. So,
yeah. And I think I was kind of wondering when Alpha was going to be released. I was pretty sure it was going to be when King's Reach is finished, but I couldn't remember if that was true or not. But now that they confirmed that, I think that'll be good because I think the other continent will be built pretty quickly. So I don't think we're going to be stuck in alpha and beta for forever. So I think once we get to alpha, I think we can be like, all right, we're on the home stretch now. So I think that's good.
Yeah, and and I put this in the chat when we were in the VR stream, but they announced before Fairthal that they made a decision that they were going to rethink originally what alpha was. Originally, alpha was going to be a very early state bug testing, that kind of thing. But there's a lot of alpha backers. There's a lot. It's a much easier price point to get into at the 250 versus the 1,000, and you can get in by just pledging a little bit here and there, and you can get into the alpha. So I think there's going to be a lot of alpha backers. So one, they have to be able to navigate an NDA or whatever's going to be there, and what they don't want shown is going to be very hard to contain. But on top of that, they're going to have a lot of people coming in. So they now have decided, because of things that have happened in the past, we won't go into detail on that when they do show alpha, they want it to be impressive. And I don't blame them. I
think that's a good idea. I think Baz was talking about the possibly streaming during alpha on one of his community gatherings the other day. Mm-hmm. I think I'd like to see alpha still NDA. Maybe lifted just very slightly, but I think beta, is a great time to hit the streamers. That's probably not what you want to hear, but I think that would be a good idea. But yeah,
I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. It will be hard for me to watch my mouth, and I'll probably get in trouble a couple times. But I agree with you. And they're obviously doing the streamer program, so here's to hope that some of the community will be able to get in there and be officially able to show it. And if it's on a stream, it's open to talk about. So.
Yeah, and I would be cool with. I'm not part of the streamer program, but I'd advocate for, if they're going to introduce something new, if they are going to introduce a new continent or a new zone or something like that, I would love to see some of the streamers being able to show that off. Even maybe like on a one of their live streams or live updates that hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. Oh, by the way, we're going to cut to a 15-minute clip of some of our streamers showing off this zone, and then all right, now we're back to us, and you saw that, and this is something like that. I think that'd be really cool.
I want to somehow, because Nathan's going to tank, and I think Bazram's going to tank. I think they're both paladins.
I'm going to tank.
And you're a tank. So I just want to somehow get into a streaming group with Nathan and Baz, even if they're both tanks, and I want to find a way to overpull and then vanish. And I want to kill the tanks and just stealth away laughing. Now, what's really going to happen is I'm just going to die. That's pretty much what's going to happen. But in my head, it would be a beautiful thing to take out Nathan and Basgrim by overpulling. It might happen.
You could always just train them and then rope out of there, man.
Oh yeah, just jump. Can you imagine jump off a cliff and just rope? That's not how it works.
Yeah, little Geronimo, man.
Awesome. So what you're leaving the meter where it's at, I take it, right?
Yeah, I take it up there. I mean, I kind of come in with an even kill, but yeah, today they did a good job. I thought it was.
Check me out, I'm dancing.
They listened to us really well. I mean, how much more can we really want? They listened to us well. Last week we talked about patch notes. The very next stream they had patch notes, and he's hearing us about the stream not showing too much and this and that. So yeah, I mean, they're listening to us, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I that's again super humbling. I just can't believe that happened on here, and that's a testament to you guys. I've said since day one on this show, it's about you guys being heard. It's not just the Minus show. Nobody wants to see that, and it wasn't me that made that happen. It was Vandrad, and you guys can be the next one to come on the show live and be able to, throw your ideas out there. You never know.
Yeah,
You never know. Guys.
I think Vandred dropped a couple of F-bombs to get his way. So
Great.
next time we talk about open bars, I might have to drop some F-bombs on that.
Oh, geez. Don't let Booch on here. Talking about bards and F-bombs. Singing them. He'll have to sing them. All right. Hoye, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Take it easy. All right. So next, I'm going to bring on Shept. So Shepto, you are next up, and then we'll go with Booch, and then we'll get through the list there as well. So Shepto, I'm bringing you up now. What's up, Shepto? How are you?
Hey, pretty good, man. How are you?
Great, man. Welcome to the show. Welcome.
Yeah. So, man, I know a lot of people have said kind of everything. I know it's hard to add more, but it was probably one of the better ones they've ever done, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And just like Fragile said, the AA thing with the WoW talent stuff, we were talking back and forth about there's so much potential in that you can add, visual effects per skill up, or all these different things that you can do. It makes you go back to the website and look at the skills and kind of have this idea of like what they could possibly do with them. Right.
Yeah,
and
it was so cool to see that one. I mean, I know that it's probably not even finalized, but just to see it, right? I'll put it back up on the screen here. So that's your healing hands. That was just to see it. I mean, I don't know. This stuff.
Yeah, I mean, because we didn't know what those really meant, right? And the ability of how you get them, right? That you can get them from different ways, like later on, it is really cool. The epic abilities, having to do something epic, right, to actually increase those skills is well needed. That'll give people that maybe even the harder content need, to push to get those things in that. But all kinds of good things. There's one thing I noticed at the end that they talked about was zone lines.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very fascinating. Like, I think that adds a greater challenge to the game. It makes people think more when they go to do polls. I know obviously it creates trains, which everybody loves. Can't go wrong.
Let's be honest, we don't miss some trains. I mean, some of the greatest moments were sitting at the top of Guck and just hearing train to zone, and everybody you just see literally like 30 people stand up and like, oh,
yeah, and they're all like rotating, looking. Yeah, it's the greatest thing. But
how about when your group put a train down? Let's say you had like a sick group sitting at the entrance just waiting to go down, and that train comes up and you just smack it down.
Yeah, that Channer landing that AE Mez or that Bard. Oh man, it's the best. There's nothing better than it. But like it's part of, in a way, it ties into the death system a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because it's you have to zone to drop that aggro unless you have an ability, right? So you have to make that decision. Do you stay or go, right? And it's a community thing, right? It's like you don't want to be the guy known that just trains everybody. I don't know if somebody do, but some people do. Yeah. But it was just there's so many good things out of this one. Minus it was
a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely they're listening, and that's all anybody could ask for, right? To even mention it, and I know somebody else said that, is like they know what we say and what we do on these, and they understand. Just like I don't want to know everything. I know it's great to see stuff and watch these streams and do all that, but I don't want to know everything. Like you said, going into that zone for the first time, whatever zone it may be, you want it to be exciting and just, that and do it with your friends, do it with a group, right? That's what you want. I mean, it's great to see it, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to be like, I already been here. Yeah.
And that's and I used to get some crap because I used to say I'm fine seeing Helner's Cave over and over with the new stuff. Like if you want to do like unveils of the other tanks and new abilities and animation, just do it in Helner's Cave. Just just show us all that stuff in Helner's Cave. Make it your testing environment. Maybe do one other one and just rotate them. Amber Fate and then Helner's Cave, then Amber.
Yeah, and really, when you look at it, the places they show aren't overly different every time they show it, right? I mean, these are kind of areas we've seen already. So it doesn't bother me. I know people get tired of them, but it's like they don't want to show you the rest of Hell in Your Cave, right? There's more to it than just what we've seen.
Do you remember when we saw that little peek through the rock? Like that was amazing. Like the feeling that gave. Like we're not going to feel that amazing about it when we see it now.
I know, and that's one of the things that I'm like, well, maybe I'll try to forget it and compartmentalize it or something in that. But there's so much stuff that came out of this that's just so unbelievable. And I appreciate every bit of their listening. That's all you can ask for from a development team, right? Is that they listen and try to do what's best for the community and keeping us from ourselves sometimes. That's the one that is hardest to do, right? Because
and we don't always like it. We don't always like it.
No, absolutely not. You hear loud people, right? Loud people scream and shout. But yeah, just so much stuff. There's just no other way of saying it. I wish you could go above the meter. Like there should be like
you can. I invented this meter. You can take it above.
Just explode the meter out and have like a thing above it. No, it was great, and it'll be hard to top. Don't get me wrong. There'll be more stuff they'll have to do in the future, but I don't think we've had one this good in a little bit. I appreciate all of it, but yeah, man, it was good stuff, and I know everybody's excited. It just now it just makes learning, thinking about your class, right?
Yeah,
is even greater. Like, because you're just like, man, how many abilities? Like you said, how many abilities you're gonna have?
Yep.
But if you have a limited selection in the sense of how many you can load up, it doesn't affect it as much. I know.
I love how excited you are right now.
Oh, dude,
and trust me, you come on here.
Fragile.
You come on here a lot, and you're always super positive. But like, just hearing it in your voice, hearing you and Fragile just being so excited tonight is it's awesome. This is when these dev streams, I know some of us have said is 2 weeks too often, or is it pushing them? But this is when the dev stream makes the community come together. We enjoy our time spent in the chat together. We get on here and we start theory crafting and just talking about life in general and each other and what we want to see and what we heard and how we interpret it. And it's just a blast. And I can't thank them more for that. Like you said, that they listen as well. So I'm going to keep that meter right there for you, Shep, and I'm going to drop you down. But thank you, buddy.
You bet. No problem.
I also lied. I cannot pull that out. I tried to pull the meter out the top. I did not resize it in a way that I could pull out. Well, we will make that happen in the future, though. Just wanted to give a quick shout out. Thank you to Dan, Madrigorian, and Arkham Cleric for your follows. Really do appreciate that. Thanks for jumping on board here on Twitch with us. So really cool. And I do have to give a funny shout out to Dan. Dan's all like, hey, you guys should totally all play on the same server. And like Nathan's like, oh yeah, we're friends. We're gonna. And then he follows up with the sick burn. Oh, good, because I'm gonna play on another one. Well, listen here, Dan. If you're gonna be an elf, that's an intelligent move, because you don't want to be playing on a server with me if you're an alpha. You feel me, Bronson? So I already talked about that. Fragile. Okay, so let's go ahead, and Booch is going to be next up. We're going to bring Booch up, and he's all ready. Look, his mic's ready to go. He's like, I'm next. Here I come. What's up, Booch?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Now, was the line they removed about bards? Are you going to stick to that conspiracy theory from Nathan?
I was feeling some strong vibes, some very strong bard vibes.
You felt it in your vocal cords?
I felt it, but I digest. Let me bring everyone back down to reality. Because you know who's the local curmudgeon.
It's usually not you.
I'm the polar opposite of you and Mr. Nathan Napalm, the king of wishful thinking and
it's a good song.
The puppet master. So, first of all, no, I gotta say they did redeem themselves in my eyes a little bit with the. They finally answered my question about the character models, the Dark Mirror and the Scar, and just recently Ronick said something to Theric in the chat here that we're going to be getting some lore.
Yeah.
So I don't feel so bad after all that. I was pissed for a couple weeks there that
weren't seeing him enough. Yeah, because when they went to the video,
I wanted to hear.
Yep.
But as far as this subject goes, well, you know what I hear when I watch these is, to me it's like you're baking a cake, right? And everyone's getting all giddy in the stream chat over when they're announcing the flavor of the buttercream frosting. I want to know the flavor of the cake. You know what I'm saying? It's like everyone's getting excited over these little tidbits of stuff where I want to know. I want more of the body of it. You understand what I'm saying?
So you're a cake eater. Like you leave the icing on the plate.
Cake. I love cake.
So do you leave like the thick if there's like thick icing, do you leave it on the plate and kind of eat the cake around it?
I eat it all.
All right, well.
Like you'll eat the plate too. So but anyways, but you know what I'm saying? It's like you're building an engine, and the first thing you start off with is, okay, we're gonna balance the crank, we're gonna put this cam in it, we're gonna go 30 over. You know, it's going to be fuel injected. It's going to be a light and flywheel. I'm not going to tell you, oh, by the way, we're going to put these shiny valve covers on it, and everyone's going to get all excited over that. You know what I'm saying? Or we're going to put this special throttle in it, so you just have to lean on the throttle. It's going to accelerate. Well, does the car even run? You know what I'm saying? That's what I hear.
If we're going to stick with,
I'm a little bit in a different, looking at it from a different angle.
If we're gonna use a car hyperbole here, see the way I see it is they're putting together a Shelby Mustang, right?
Okay.
Which means they're building it perfect from the inside out. They're not buying a Honda Civic. And rice burnering it out, right? So that's so how you like that? Does I'm not into cars. Did that work okay?
They're popping the hood and they're showing you this, oh, look at this shiny valve cover. Oh, look at this air intake. You know what I mean? It's like, look, I want to hear the thing run.
Yeah.
What kind of, I want to hear the exhaust growl. I don't want to, I don't want to look at I don't want to look at it,
Yeah.
But anyways, this, I digest this, ability system, the codec system. I think it's really cool what they did with the, the abilities, the way that you're going to be able to upgrade them.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is, I really wasn't crazy about the actual look of it.
Oh,
like
really?
if you pull up that
Check me out, I'm dancing.
Yeah, I'll put
picture of like the little individual where it showed the individual ability with the little 3 dots. It almost looked like a little TV screen.
Let me pull it up here for you. That one there? Or do you want the one with the actual
small one? The little close-up one.
There you go.
I mean, that looks pretty cool, but it looks almost like what's that with a little hand in it? What's that? A TV screen? Is that like
that's a pop-up box? So that's a pop-up box. Yeah.
Well, what is that hand in? Like a little television? Does my guy get a TV to carry around? What is that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, the aesthetics of it, and like what's on the outside of that codex? What is that made out of? Metal? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little harsh. I don't. I mean, it's just my
Van Effect says it's a frame.
It's just my nature. I mean,
Booch, this is the show. Somebody just said, Jason A. Owen just said it's an icon.
Yeah, well, I'm saying like, what's around that? I mean, that book. What is that book made out of? Is that metal?
Magic.
It looks like metal.
It's magic.
If it's metal, what do you even need the book for?
It's the same stuff Lieutenant Dan made his legs out of. It's titanium alloy.
Oh, okay. All right. If it's vibranium, I could see if it was vibranium or something. That'd be cool. Comic book reference.
Booch, what are you doing to that meter?
Though, I do like the setup of. I really don't. I mean, do you think there's going to be that many abilities? What is there? There's freaking a million of them.
That might be the surprise we get. That might be the surprise we get. So what are you thinking, Booch? You moving the meter down? I thought you said you were thinking about it. What do you want to do here?
Oh, I would say for me, I would say just add expectations for me, because that seems about the.
But we do have to balance
you. Know what I'm saying?
There's been a lot of people that wanted to break the meter, so we'll bring it down to where I'm at. We'll get a little bit of a move there.
Down. I would bring it even down more. I'd bring it down to that one level below there, but
hey,
it is
listen,
what it is. It is what it is.
Just pretend they were about to announce Bard, and we'll settle for there.
Oh, dude, the day they announce Bard, I won't even be able to speak. You couldn't even put me on the show. I wouldn't even be able to talk.
Oh, you'll be on the show that day.
You'll hear me. I'll yell it out the window. You'll hear it from Connecticut. You'll hear everything going, the Bard is here.
Have you been reading Bronson's comments?
Lights. There'll be flashing lights. I'll be seeing things.
Have you been reading Bronson's comments, by by the way? Because you got to go back and read them. You have to. It's fantastic. Booch, thank you.
Digressing. That's not even a word. Digress. It's digest. It's digest. You digest.
Booch, I love you to death, buddy. I will see you soon. Thanks, man.
All right, brother. Take it easy.
Oh my gosh, that's why this show is fantastic. He's digressing his food. Oh my God, you guys are killing me right now. I love you guys so much. All right, so let's just look real quick here at the notes. We did get into the zone lines. And the big thing with that, we talked about the leashing. It's going to be interesting to see a modern MMO. That's going to be... Kira said, I digest. That's a new thing. That's become part. Booch, you now have your staple. But it's going to be interesting to see people who are playing modern MMOs that maybe didn't get a chance to play games like EverQuest to come in and, that mob starts chasing them. So like, oh, I'm going to run away for a bit. And they turn around like, why is this mob? I can't wait to see people that are running in like large circles. Like, why won't it stop following me? So that'll be pretty funny to see. And people running for zones again, I think is welcome. So that's pretty cool. One of the things that's pretty neat, a simple little thing about development here was from Jason, and they asked him a pretty broad, open question, like, how would you describe your experience with Pantheon? And it was neat that he really talked about what it was like to be on the ground level of being on the team. You know, he shared a story with us about him and Brad talking about colored mana, and it got a laugh out of everybody because of how much Brad was passionate about that. And like, that was a really core idea at the beginning. But what's neat is him talking about that he's come into a lot of projects to help it get finalized or help finish it, but he was never at the beginning. And I guess when he was, this is me kind of putting pieces together, but what he was saying is that when he jumped into these games, he was sort of looking back at some of the things they did that needed fixed, or he was kind of trying to improve systems to get it to launch. And he's used a lot of that experience in how they're building the game from the ground up, where he's able to fix these things now and understand technical difficulties that'll come later. And I think that's really great because all of us here, for the most part, are familiar with Vanguard, whether we played it or not. And one of the problems with Vanguard was the massive size of it, and the way it was put together was rough. It was really hard to fix the game. It was really hard to re-implement things or make changes because there were just all these different elements that didn't play well together that you had to change. And one of the things I love in something that Brad really instilled into this team from day one was building it the right way first, no matter what it took to do it. And I think that that's super important. So there you go. So I did want to also thank Captain Bart for the last follow there. I don't think I gave you a shout out. So thank you for following. You guys are awesome. We're trying to get to 200 by next Thursday, and you guys are killing it right now. So thank you. So we do have a few more people we're going to bring in. We have Mythius, we have Zoo, we have Double A, we have Budrick, and we have Captain Bartholomew. So let's go ahead, Mythius, if you want to go ahead and unmute and you want to turn your headset off or turn your headset on, I will bring you in next. And I know Mythius, so we've had a few times where we had to get you going there. So whenever I see that, I will bring you in. He might be AFK again. Remember last time we had to make up stories about what Mythius was doing? So I'm going to head and skip him for a moment. Zoo, I hope you're ready because you're up next and you're already unmuted and your mic's already on. So Zoo, I'm bringing you up. How you doing, Zoo?
You, dude.
Welcome back on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
What'd you think?
I'm going to be a little bit more pessimistic than the average. So good points. I love the screenshot, so thank you for Vandred for raising the issue that we wanted screenshots of the patches and what they were doing, and I thought that was pretty cool. I loved how we had one of the devs go into the screenshots of the UI, and I'm a QA tester myself, so I loved how he went into, look at the detail, look how he even put a little, look how they brushed aluminium on here. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I love continuity and things like that, so that's good. The bad things, they didn't go into why there were so many tabs on that book.
They said that some of the tabs are for future implementation. They left it open. There was a slight mention, but you're right. It wasn't what. They just said they're there for a reason, for future. So I don't know what that's going to mean.
There are 24 skills on a page, and you could see at the bottom it said page 1. There's going to be multiple pages. Mm-hmm. So already I'm thinking bloat.
Yeah.
So I assume last week we were talking about, I mentioned action bars as well, didn't that was the topic I was talking to you about as well. So I'm thinking, oh crap, they're going to have to probably limit how many spells I can use, or I'm going to have at least sort of 50 spells in my book.
Yeah.
But also I'm guessing one page might be for cooking or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have all the recipes in there, and then I can level up the recipes. So, rather than healing for 20 health, it's going to heal me for 40 at rank 2, 60 at rank 3, something like that. And that's what concerned me as well. The example they gave was just percentage cooldown reduction and percentage heal or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I hope they're a bit more imaginative with what the ranks do.
I think they will be, because he sort of mentioned that the ability, like, so the first tier, like the first dot, was going to probably cost like 1 ability point or maybe 2. But they mentioned that as you go up, they're going to cost more. And I would assume that if they're going to cost more, they're going to be, a little more impactful.
So you think like rank 2 might be something along the lines of cooldown reduction and increase heal, but rank 3 might be, it also hits a second target or something like that.
Maybe something that actually completely modifies how you use the spell. Yeah, I hope. I do think.
I hope so. I hope it changes your playstyle rather than just numbers, because
I agree so much with you on that. And if you think about what they're pulling it from, so the 2 topics they use, we said this earlier, but the original WoW talent trees, with the point system, and those are pretty significant when you put points in them. It changed how you played completely. And then AA points, which were insane. So if it's a mixture of those two systems, I feel pretty comfortable saying that as you go up those points, it's going to be pretty impactful. And it's wishful thinking, obviously, but I do feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And also, he said you can get points from raiding and things like that rather than just leveling. I hope it's not an infinite system where we get to max level and then you have to go and you can go and max out all your points at endgame or whatever, because I want to be able to be that person who maybe has a max rank in something a bit more niche, so you stand out more than the others.
Well, you have more identity, right? Like you pick, you're a warrior, but as for example, you're a warrior, but here's what you specialize in. That is important. I agree.
Yeah, and I think those are the things they should have sort of maybe gone into a bit more. They probably are still making the decisions on the finer details, but it was very similar to last week, and we saw the book last week. We saw them mention.
Well, there you go. Zoo, did you see Joppa just threw a comment in there? Said it won't just be numbers. That text was just placeholder that Jared made to visualize his own text placement. So it's not just going to be like. So there you go.
Thank you for clarifying, Joppa. And if you need a QA tester at DL, let me know.
Get this guy, get Zoo in there. That's our next goal. So we've gotten a thing on the show in. Let's get a person on the show in. I'm in. I'm good with that. Zoo, the other thing that was important, you brought up how like the book was going to have maybe your cooking or your crafting abilities in it. And Joppa was very clear to say that the codex is going to be sort of as much as a one-stop shop as possible. So I do agree. I think you're right there. If we dig into that a little bit more, he said the only things he could think of off the top of his head that weren't going to be in that book was acclamation and the Keeper's Tomb. So, I mean, to me, if you think about everything that's in a game, with the exception of like your inventory screen and like your gear and your bags, but if you think of like quest log, if you think of crafting, your skills, your general abilities, like all that stuff is going to be in that book. And that's cool because you have a centralized place to kind of get to everything, which is nice.
Yeah, I think that's cool. You don't have to. I can have more keys bound to spells than to one for quest log, one for spell book, one for things like that. So I'll just have to say it. Wait for alpha and see how it all works. It is too soon for me to give a criticism, really. But it was just sort of things they haven't mentioned. I'm just worried about.
Yeah, well, Zoo, I'll tell you this. You came in and you said, I'm going to come on and be a little more pessimistic, but I sense some excitement in your voice, and you were actually pretty positive there. So if that's you being pessimistic...
I wouldn't pledge if I wasn't optimistic about the game and had some excitement about it.
And it's okay. I mean, honestly, I think we all deserve the right to be on both sides. Like, there are definitely things, like I said, my big concern right now, and I'm just waiting for an answer on, is that limited skill set. And if we're going to have a ton of spells, it even more so makes me say we need to have that limited skill set. And there are hints. There's so many hints. The way they were talking about, tabbing certain spells that you have in a loadout. Like, there are little things that are being said that make me believe we're sticking to the 12 skill limit, but we just haven't heard it officially. So I'm just that makes me so
maybe
nervous.
That was the missing note on the pad.
Well, in the original notes, like I said, they was going to talk about the action bar UI enhancement. So we're going to see it soon. It's coming. I mean, we're getting info every 2 weeks. It can't be that far off at this point. So
I'm annoyed at how many people want Bard, man. Yeah, I think there's something wrong with you for play.
Well, that's okay. As long as it's not an elf Bard, I'm fine with it. So. Zoo, thank you so much for coming on. What do you want to do that meter before you go? You move it up, down, or keep it where it's at?
Move it halfway towards the next node.
Oh, okay. Move it down a little bit. All right. There you go. Zoo, thanks, buddy, for coming on. I appreciate it, man.
Catch you later.
All right. So next up, we are going to grab Budrick. Budrick, I think Budrick's probably at work. I know Budrick's across the world, and we try to keep him entertained while he's at work. So let's see if Budrick's ready to come in here or not. Budrick, I'm going to drag you up. If you can't come up, just let me know. What's up, Budrick? How you been, man? Uh-oh. He might be working.
Hey, there
he is. What's up?
Hey, what's up, dude? How's it going?
Good, man. It's been a little bit. How are you?
I know. Hold on. Let me walk out so I get better signal. I don't want to drop out.
Are we getting you at work again? I love it.
Yeah, dude. I'm always at work. What's going on, man?
What'd you think?
No, I thought it was at expectations, dude, for sure.
What was the standout
like
for you?
I don't know, isn't it not always at expectations? I don't know. I feel like I get something out of it every stream.
Yeah, you know what it is? I think we hype ourselves up quite a bit, and we see certain topics and we want to hear something and we do or we don't, or we think we're not going to hear something, or we get something that maybe we're not expecting to hear, and that's where you can kind of get it above your expectations. So it's kind of just this game of our hopes versus what we receive.
Yeah. I mean, like, it was cool because we got to see more into the Living Codex, and I feel like no one really like asked Jason that many questions, man.
You can tell even at the end he was like maybe the one. I felt bad. I wish he was here.
Dude,
we could ask him
have
questions.
probably squeezed like so many more beans out of him if somebody actually asked him like programming.
I don't know. In
questions.
the frame, he was sitting right next to Ben, so I don't know how. So look, I mean, here's the picture. He's right there, and Ben's not even looking at him in this picture I took. So maybe he could have got some beans out. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he could have definitely got.
What was your key takeaway then? If you said it's pretty much at your expectations, what was the key thing you walked away with?
I liked the abilities for sure.
The Living Codex.
They went in depth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like everything that they were clarifying.
Yeah.
With like the bubbles and it's because you skill it up, right? You enhance it.
Yeah.
To
me, it feels like yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it kind of feels like not just the. Oh, thank you, Lair, for following us. So to me, it's not just like they had mentioned the influence was again the WoW talent tree and AAs, but to me, what it always reminded me of, and I'd be curious, Joppa, if you're in there, if you could comment on this. How about the Diablo relic system? Does anyone on the team play Diablo?
Yeah.
Right, because that's what it feels like to me, and that works really well. And I've always wanted to see that more in an MMO. But I'm curious if anyone on the VR team or anybody who's here, do you guys have Diablo fans, Diablo 3, who were be able to modify your spells and create these unique builds with the modifiers? That's where my head goes on it.
Yeah, and I look at it as like you can enhance which abilities you want, but it also looks like you can take points out of each skill, or say you spend it in one skill, and maybe you guys can like recuperate some of the abilities.
Yeah.
And they're not just one spend, you lose them, but you can respec and respend them in different areas if you want to do a different build.
Yeah.
Like you said, or if you just want to spec your guy different, if you're sick of playing like full tank sword and board, high defense, high health, you can change maybe to a DPS more so, or whatnot. But I'd say the key takeaway was that for sure, because you could tell like they even stopped it and they're like, this could go on the whole stream, just this whole
That's pretty awesome.
But
cool, man. So what do you want to do with the meter? We've had a few people moving it down. Are you moving it down, or are you keeping it there?
No, I would say I guess it lived up past my expectations, because I did get some more things in it than I thought I would. But like even just like when they were going through the Merc and they were showing like all the gray box, dude, that was so cool. And, like,
you know what's interesting that you bring that up? I think that there's people that enjoy things like that and people that don't. But I really do. Like, here's a picture of the tunnel that's up on the screen right now. If you guys didn't see this. And then we have the environment. And again, I love this because you can already see there's probably gonna be some kind of fight up there on that platform, or maybe something you have to trigger. Or maybe you can skip certain areas by climbing properly. So there's some cool stuff in that.
Well, yeah, like I just like how you could see like the bare bones of it and how they actually build it, and you're like, holy shit, that's how you make it, like that's what it looks like before you put a texture on it.
Yeah, before you.
And all it is a texture to change it that makes it look like a cave, or a tunnel or whatever.
Yep. But, all right, Budrick, I'm going to drop you down, buddy. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming back, and thanks for listening to us at work, man. Hopefully we keep you entertained.
All right. Yeah. Always.
Thanks, buddy. Take care.
Always.
So we just had Fragile say, one question that hasn't been asked or answered about the ability points. Can we change them? It's true. It hasn't been answered. My heart of heart says yes. In this day and age, I can't imagine having to rebuild a whole character by messing that up. I know they want the game to be punishing. I want the decisions to matter. I get all that, but they need gold sinks. I think gold sinks are very important, or currency sinks. So having that as a currency sink, I think, is very important. So my guess would be that you can do that. So we'll see. Booch said maybe for a microtransaction. He's trying to get in trouble tonight. He's definitely trying to get in trouble tonight. So next up, let's go ahead. We're going to bring in, let's see, Captain Bartholomew. If you're there, I'm going to bring you up and you'll be able to chat. It'll be your first time on the show here. And I've seen you kind of just jumped into the community recently. So bring you up and tell me what you thought. Here we go. Captain Bartholomew. What's up, man? How are you?
How are you doing, Midas? It's nice to meet you, finally.
Nice to meet you, my friend. Thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for joining into the community recently. What's going on? What'd you think of all that?
Tonight? I thought it was a pretty good show. I like the look of the codex. It kind of reminded me of what was that video game, card game back in the 90s? Netrunner? Kind of computer like looking like design. You know, it kind of look a little futuristic.
Yeah, it's got like it's got a fantasy aspect built into like like you said, sort of a futuristic aspect, which is actually kind of important because we have races like the gnomes that are space travelers, right? So that's a little bit.
Yeah.
And not to interrupt you, but Joppa just said, so the current plan is to allow AP respecs at a coin cost that increases each time you do it. So perfect. That's phenomenal. Look at that. Breaking news, Joppa. You're too good to us. You're too good to us, Joppa. So they are answering that question. So that's the first time we kind of got a true answer on that. So sorry to interrupt you there, Captain, but you were here for some breaking news from Joppa. So go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, that's cool. I played EverQuest for a very long time. I started out as a bard and became disenfranchised with the old school twisting, you know, where you had to sit and gyrate the fingers back and forth.
Yep.
And then they came out with the melody command. But, you know, I was looking for a game to play. And some friends of mine had told me that, you know, Brad McQuaid had passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And I played with Brad in the game. And, you know, I saw how people circled the wagon for Brad and how Brad was an important part of the community. And it made me want to do my part. And that's part of what I did and how I first met you. I started hosting a lot of your creator content videos on my site, The Crossroads of Terminus. And I didn't know who anybody was.
It's an awesome community, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yes. I mean, you know, the one thing I've said on the forums is that it's like a spice rack is the best way.
There's a lot of food references tonight. A lot of food references tonight.
Well, I am hungry, so and I'm right across the street from Texas Don's. But no, it's like you know, everyone has like a different style, you know, and they kind of use it as a seasoning for what I would consider, you know, to be the other white meat. You know, that would be Pantheon.
Yep.
Right.
That's true. Everybody's eating after the show. Everybody start calling Uber Eats now because it'll be here very shortly. So, so Captain Bartholomew, what would you do with that meter? Are you going to keep it where it's at, or do you want to move that red meter up? Do you think this was above your expectations? It was at your expectations? What'd you think?
I think it was a little bit above. I'm more of a fan of actual gameplay.
Okay.
Because I started out as a bard, but I ended up becoming a raid cleric in the game. And there's nothing more exciting than battling a boss or whatever, and you know, just getting down, you know, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you know, and beating the mob for the first time. But I do like the different aspects of what they talked about tonight with the codex, and I kind of think that it's nice to bring in the other people that are part of the project, like the programmers and stuff, because I think it kind of adds like a complete element to everything.
Yeah,
you know?
just being able to see these people, I think, I've always been a big proponent of VR, making sure people know who they are, who's working on stuff. I think that the human element is super important. So for me, I don't think that should ever just be forgotten. So the human element of, driving, just us knowing about them and what makes them tick, what they've played before. And mark my words, Joppa, if you're there, or Ronik, one of the days I'm going to get one of you guys on this show. And that's the kind of stuff I want to hear about. It might not be everyone's cup of tea. Everybody might want to hear just all those beans they can. And I'll try to get some out of somebody. But I want to know more about them as people. Like, what are some of the impactful moments they've had playing games? Like, what's one of their favorite games? And what's something that they've translated that thought process into Pantheon? And what are things that what are their lines in the sand? We all have lines in the sand with what we expect of Pantheon. If certain things happen, it's like, what's your line in the sand where you just won't step off of something? And I think that human element and understanding where these guys come from, it creates a human bond with them, not just seeing them in these different things, but bringing them in and having these types of conversations. The same stuff that's unified us as a community, I think can unify them even more into the community. So really do want to see that someday. I promise I'm not going to throw you guys under the bus, and I will never ask for a date, promise. But, just to get into that kind of stuff, I think would be really awesome. And I think that the community would love to hear it. So Captain, I'm going to leave the meter there for you then. Thank you for coming on the show. Welcome to a first time. We'll see you again.
Thank you, Midas. And thank you for all your content creators for what you do. Like I said, it's nice to have different varieties and kind of put a face with a name. You know what I mean?
Yep. Awesome. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So it looks like I'm going to move my meter. I kind of put my meter where it was. I'm going to move it up. It's weird. Like sometimes just talking about this stuff with you guys makes the points seem more exciting to me. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap this up here in a second. We got everybody in that was available. So quick question for the chat. Light up the chat right now. Do you want to move the red meter up, keep it where it's at, or do you want to move it down? So go ahead if you would like to do that. So we got up, fragile. Oh, I feel like I have to shut the show down because I'm not sure Fragile's ever going to be this happy again. Let's see, up. Jeez, everybody. We got one person that's good where it's at. This is a pretty one-sided jump here. Hoye up. Look at that. Joppa, they're loving it. Ronik, you guys did a good job tonight. Everyone's excited. Everyone's pumped. Moving it up. Oh, geez, it's got to go. Don't listen to them. Just move it up. Fragile. Oh, geez. There you go. So there you go. Everybody's super pumped. There's one last thing we didn't talk about. Swag. Class logo swag. That's all I've been asking for. I'm in. I need my Rogue logo shirt. I'll be ordering that tonight, and I'll be getting one of those in. And maybe in the future here, we'll give away some of them. The only thing is that we're never going to give away a Ranger or Druid one. So if you guys are big fans of Druids or Rangers, you should probably just go buy it. Don't hope to win it on this show. We'll do Rogues. We'll think about Dire Lords. We'll do Warriors. Actually, I'll consult with Bronson. We may only do Rogue shirts. So we'll have to see. Maybe a Bard shirt. Summoner, I'm going to put Bronson in charge of that. That's going to be his moderator rights. He will get to decide what shirts we look to give away. So we will try to do something like that, guys, just to have fun with that, because all the proceeds do go to development. So that'll be something fun we're going to try to do. Oh, geez. Pantheon Theric is going to order 50 to give to the community. That's funny. So they did show some cool swag. I am definitely getting the Rogue sticker and the Rogue shirt. Super into that. So if you guys get any of the merch, do me a huge favor. Tag us on Twitter at PantheonPlus with a picture of you with your shirt. And let's get those all like fired up, and we'll show some of them on the streams. So if you guys do order your shirts, you can let us know on Twitter. But once you get the shirt and put it on, let's get pictures floating around. Let's get people seeing these merch items and the shirts and the class logos and asking questions. What is that? And we'll just keep throwing those out there. That'll be a fun thing to do. So Joppa. Someday, will you jump in the green room and talk to us about that, about the hotbar info? You don't have to promise. I'm not asking for a promise. Just think about it. Think about it. Jump into the green room. We'll pull you in. There you go. And thank you for that last minute follow there from the great Vindini. I appreciate that. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate everything you guys do for the community. I appreciate everything you do in following us. Continue to let us know what you want to see. We are going to do Pantheon plus you every Thursday, no matter what, except for if I'm in some kind of dire situation or there's a like Christmas, something like that. But other than that, we will do this show every single week. And we are also now streaming Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, where we play different games, similar games into the genre, stuff that's going to get the community together while we're Pantheon patient, and maybe get more of the community playing some games together. Sometimes there'll be good games, sometimes there'll be bad games. If you guys didn't get to see it, we just did Wolcen, which is like a Diablo style game. And I think a ton of our community is going to be playing that. And that game comes out on the 13th. So check it out. We put up a video today on YouTube. It's kind of like a 10-minute video about my impressions. Really cool. Guys, thank you. We just got another follow from Ramzacast. And Ramzacast, is your name from Final Fantasy Tactics? I know you haven't typed in there yet, but Ramzacast, if your name is from Final Fantasy Tactics, you are amazing. So I love that. Awesome. So guys, yeah, make sure to check out all the different sites that are listed there. Check out the merch store. You have the link there. Thank you guys. Another amazing episode of Pantheon Plus You. Because of you guys, we will see you again next week.